I am back. I had to take a little hiatus for some reasons, but I've decided now is a good time to pull out all my paints and inks and get messy again. And I have this base that I started working on around maybe, like, I'm pretty sure it was like Christmas 2018, and I was working on it and I had some grand plan. It was going to be Christmassy, and I had texture pasted around it, and I attached this piece of doily on it, and I started trying to color it. I don't remember how bad it went. It just went very, very poorly. It was not coming out. So I took it out and I sprayed it with Kilz primer, just so that I could do a complete redo. I mean, I still like the doily on it, but I'm going to go a different direction in colors and decor. So I pulled this out so that I could do a spring, nice greenish gold, something for the Mixed Media Place March challenge. That's the mood board that I showed there at the beginning. That's the challenge I'm working on. And I figured now is a good time to finally get this used up. I think it'll go better now for what I'm hoping I can get out of my head onto here than what it was. So I've pulled out some paints already. I have a couple of Tim Holtz colors, some sparks. I don't know exactly which ones I'm going to go with, but I'm going to start seeing how I can get some colors on. Alright, I'm just going to get started here with some Opal Magic Green Gold there. Kind of start as my base color and around the edges, and then build up from there, see where that takes me. Try to get back into the swing of things here. My green gold over here. You can see some of the red from my previous project apparently is still very water soluble, so I'm hoping to be able to cover all that up. I now am going to use some ancient coin on the areas around here. Going to try to kind of do some blending, work with it. I think I have a plan going. Kind of hoping for the best, but I think I have a plan going. So that is going to be my next depth right now is covering these areas, maybe working it down a little bit with this ancient coin here. Okay, and now for this is my more experimental part, because I have an idea in my head and I have a vision in my head, and I'm really hoping that I can get it to come out how I picture it. So I have some rustic wilderness distress paint here, and I don't want it to really cover anything up. I just want it to sort of spread out, kind of let this gold peek through, because it's going to be going in the same area as that ancient coin was in. So I'm going to start out really very lightly. I'm going to be spraying it with my water, kind of seeing if I can get it to spread out and let that ancient coin peek through. Alright, my paint is dry, and I'm working now with what I'm going to be stacking up here. I have this Prima frame that I've been hoarding for quite some time, something like that, that I think is going to go on here. I've pulled out, there's on this side a whole bunch of flowers that I've pulled out. Most of them are packages that have some kind of yellow in them, some whites that I'm thinking are going to be the makeup of most of this. And then I have this rusted old butterfly. I already have a coat of clear gesso on it that I did quite a while ago, just because the rust was getting everywhere. And I'm not leaving it this color. I'm going to put some white gesso on everything. Well, on these two pieces, I'm going to put some white gesso on so that they can be painted to match this, go with this. It's just this butterfly I had found out in our yard. I like to refer to it as something that came with the house, because I would find random yard ornaments after we had moved in. And I liked it, and I thought it would work someday. I actually have the whole 3 set, but I think I'm just going to use the big one on this project. So I'm going to get my gesso out. There we go. My heavy gesso. And start preparing these for their paint coat. Alright, I've been playing around on the backs here, and I think I have come to a decision, and I'm going to go and paint the butterfly and this frame in more of that rustic wilderness. I think, yeah, the rustic wilderness, just because it will go, it'll stay with the color scheme that's already happening here. So I'm going to paint these up, dry them, and then move on to what I was thinking to do with a couple of my waxes. Alright, I have my base coat done on these, but there was a little something I wanted to add to this background, and that was going to be some splatters. Now, let's see. I think I'm going to start with some of the rustic wilderness. Let me get something here to spread it out on. Just an old package, so I can get it there and get my little splatter brush here, and just a little bit of water. It's thin paint, it doesn't need a lot, but I don't want it too thick either. And then I want to splatter the lighter color with this rustic wilderness out this way. That's about it for that. Not real heavy, just so that it looks like the dark is going out that way a bit. Gonna go wash this up and then move on to the second color that I want to splatter. Okay, and now I'm going to work in the darker area in this way using some of the unicorn's hair. Well, it'll probably end up everywhere. I really like the unicorn's hair as a splatter. So just go like that a bit. And use the lid for this. See how big of a mess I can make. Probably pretty good. I'm good at making messes. I actually think this is going to be easier with a brush. Alright, I'm going to just set this off and let it dry naturally while I work on, first I'll clean up this mess and then I'll come back and work on that frame and butterfly. Okay, now time to add my waxes. For this frame I'm going to use a brush so that I can really get it in to the details here. Well, get it in better than I'd ever be able to with a finger. And this is the green brocade. Right there you go. It's that one. And I'm just going to put it all over the front of this. I'm not doing the waxes on the back. I'll just make sure I get the edges and the front and the inside edge here. And then set that off, and I'll come back and explain which one I'm using on the butterfly. Okay, for my butterfly here, I am using the Royal Robes, and I thought about using my finger, but I wouldn't be able to get it there very well. And I think if I use a little bit of a wider brush, then it'll just go faster in general. Although brushes tend to waste more, and I'm against waste, so let me see what I got. There, that one. I think I'll use this brush here. And I'm just going to put that all over this, and probably on a little ways in on the back, just because these wings kind of curve different directions. And I'll probably come back, I'm thinking I'll do the body in one of my golds, either the white gold or the vintage gold, but I haven't fully decided yet, so I'm just going to start with the Royal Robes on the wings. Alright, I have my Royal Robes on here that you can see, shimmering in the light. And closer in sort of here, not all the way out, I'm going to add in some Heather Hills before I add a gold color to that body. Alright, I'm going to grab up yet another brush. I'm going to be busy washing brushes for a bit, but I'll grab up another brush, and I'm going to use my vintage gold wax on that body, and it's going to take some very precise brush work for me. Hopefully I don't get it where I don't want it, just so I can get along those edges there, and then on the main part of the body. Alright, now to start working on my placement. I'm going to start with this and put it about here, and then I'm going to start working on building my flowers around it. Different flowers. I'll cover what I put on there, since it's really going to be how things look and where they're going. I have a few green flowers. I have some with a purple or a dusty purple color there. Lots of yellows. So I'll be playing around with my flowers, probably taking this on and off a lot. But I'll be putting everything down with some heavy gel, matte heavy gel. And when this one's almost empty, this big one is just the same thing, more matte heavy gel. Or super heavy, I should say. It's super heavy gel. And hopefully I'll get things in a eye-pleasing manner on here. It's really what I'm going for. So, gel, frame, flower arrangement. I won't be adhering this quite yet, but I'll get to that after I have my flowers in place. this is going to be sitting here and drying for a while. You can see about how that placement is going to be when everything's said and done. But there is some stuff I want to do to the flowers before I put that butterfly on. But there's a lot of gel in here buried underneath, so I am going to let it sit overnight so that it can set up and those flowers will stay put when I come back to add some clear gesso and probably a little bit of the unicorn's hair on the edges. It's the next morning. I've lit that gel setup, and now I am just going to get some clear gesso out and brush it on my flowers. It's not going to be perfect or in every little bit. I'm going to mostly focus at the edges, because I'm going to add some of the unicorn hair or unicorn's hair sparks on the flowers, mostly at the tops of the petals, just randomly. This is really going to be a see what looks good as I go along type of thing. But because they're paper, well, these ones are kind of fabric, but they're mostly paper flowers, I do want to add a little bit of gesso on them so that that sparks will sit on top and not soak into that paper. Alright, I lit my gesso dry while I went and ate breakfast. So now I'm going to focus on adding some of that unicorn's hair to some of the flowers. I think I'm going to start with adding to the white and cream colored ones. See how that looks. See if there needs to be more. Sort of just going to play around with it a bit, and I'll probably start in here. That way, if I don't, it'll give me an idea of which ones. And you know, if it doesn't come out quite how I hoped, I'll be able to cover it with the butterfly a bit. So I'm just going to play around and see what I like, and hopefully start getting the finishing touches on after this has dried. I did just add that unicorn's hair to the green ones here a bit, and the ones that were the cream colored. I tried it on a yellow one in here, but didn't really like how it went, and I didn't want everything coated in it, so I just stuck to the greens and those cream colored ones and these white ones like this. And now I want to work on this butterfly. I like the butterfly with the waxes on it, but I want to add something else to it. So I'm going to start, and I'm just going to use this same brush and this unicorn's hair, and I think I'm just going to add a bit going out around the edges, not all the way in, but just going out some. I'm pretty sure the paint is dry. You can see I added a little bit of that unicorn's hair to my butterfly, and it gave it a bit of a more gold shine. Adds a little bit more to it depending on the light hitting it, and I think it just came out just enough to really bring that butterfly into focus for me, if that makes sense. But before I put that on, I'm going to add some glass beads. Now these are from Rene Bouquets, and they are the glass beautiful beads in dark purple. You can see those there. And I'm just going to use some diamond glaze. Now you can see that this bottle has been refilled a lot, but I'm using the diamond glaze there from Judikins. It dries quick, it's clear, it works great. But my way of doing it is I'm basically going to be dropping some beads on so that they do fall randomly, and then I go back and try to add the glue where they fall, where I roll them to. Basically I place them where I like them and then go back and glue them, instead of trying to guess with the glue where I want things to go. Okay, after some careful deliberation, I have decided I still want to add just something more to my butterfly. And I think it's going to be some micro beads. These are really micro. You can see just how small they are. It's not going to be heavy. And because I don't want to lose shine, I'm going to use some gloss gel and brush it on, and then just do a sprinkling of these on there. I had thought of mixing the beads with the gel, but I didn't want it to get too clumpy, which is why I'm going to do the gel first and then the beads. Okay, now to let everything dry together. I'm going to be very careful here with my butterfly. Figure out exactly where I'm going to position it, because it does sit up on flowers. So I'm going to look and see where to add this heavy gel to hold it in place, and then set it down gently and let everything set up and dry. Alright, my little canvas here is done. I'm actually rather happy. It only took me a couple days to do. I hope you enjoyed the process, and hopefully I'll have another project up soon. Hopefully, you know, I'm going to be getting on a roll here and getting back into the groove of things. So, I will see you again soon.